Hello, and thank you very much for joining me. This is Briant Sikorski. I'm with Stratos Wealth Partners. I am an independent wealth advisor, and today we will talk about Social Security. Really exciting stuff. But the thought probably makes you think about reaching for a couple of aspirin, but that's okay. That's why I'm here. I'm going to be your tour guide today, and I hope that when we're done, you'll be a lot closer to understanding what many consider to be one of the most vital financial aspects of your retirement. First, a disclosure. This material is provided for educational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice. The information contained herein is based on current tax laws, which may change in the future. Transamerica cannot be held responsible for any direct or incidental loss resulting from applying any of the information provided or from any other source mentioned. The information provided does not constitute legal, tax, or accounting advice, so please consult with a qualified professional like me for this type of advice. You notice that it does say Transamerica. Transamerica is kind enough to provide me with this presentation, as well as the materials that go along with it, and we're going to see some of that a little bit later. Transamerica has been in business for over 100 years. They're an insurance company, and they help people like you work with me to help control your financial future. Okay, so why are we here today? Well, we're here today because so many people, 74%, receive reduced Social Security benefits. They collect benefits as soon as they can, and for many it's because they have to. They need that income to purchase necessities in their retirement. However, for those of us that perhaps don't have this necessity, we may still take benefits early, well, either because we overstate the risk of dying too young and forfeiting that money that we paid into the program, but the evidence doesn't support this. The largest increase in our population is people over the age of 85, and in 2008 there were more than 46,000 people over the age of 100 collecting Social Security benefits. So those that can afford to wait until full retirement age, which we're going to cover in a minute, or beyond, should take a very close look at their options. Claiming benefits at the soonest opportunity may not be in your best interest. There are strategies you can use now that will help you maximize the benefits you'll receive for the rest of your life. All right, so strategies are much more significant to us now than they've ever been, and why is that? Well, number one, longevity is a reality. It is important to the success of your retirement plan that you appreciate this factor. The probability of a married couple having at least one person living to age 92 is now 50%, and living to age 97 is 25%. So this is a real risk that can affect all aspects of your retirement. In today's discussion, we'll educate you on the basics of Social Security to help you make the best decision based on your individual needs and goals. So our agenda today is to talk about Social Security. And while you may feel that you don't know a lot about it, don't feel alone. The Social Security Administration estimates that nearly 850,000 people visit one of their offices each week, and that it takes more than 68 million phone calls per year. So today we're going to outline some of the, in simple terms, some of the crucial aspects of Social Security benefits, and I believe that with a little guidance, you'll realize that it's not as complex as maybe it seems, or at least I'll hope that. First, we're going to discuss the program as a whole and what it means to you. Then we'll address the most frequent questions that are asked by those millions of phone calls. And finally, we'll go over some strategies that you can use to help maximize your retirement benefits. At that point, I'll urge you to schedule a meeting with your financial professional to review your specific options in more detail. And from there, you can determine the strategy that works best for you. So let's dive in, get started, and we'll start off with what I think is kind of interesting is, how did this all begin? How did we get here? Well, the program came to be as it was really a simple concept. It was created really at the backdrop of the Great Depression. President Franklin D. Roosevelt promised the American people, quote, some measure of protection against the loss of a job and against poverty-ridden old age. The first Social Security retirement benefit was issued to Cleveland motorman Ernest Ackerman, who retired the day after the program began. He contributed 5 cents to the program, and because lump sum payments were allowed from 1937 to 1940, he received his lifetime lump sum retirement benefit in one check for 17 cents. 1940, the program transitioned to a monthly program, and Ida Mae Fuller in 1940 received her first check in the amount of $22.54. Now, Ida lived to be over 100 years old, so she ended up collecting more than $22,000 in benefits during her lifetime. We should have talked to her about longevity back then. Putting this program into practice was never simple, and in the early days, it was constantly forced to change and evolve. And one thing that hasn't changed about the program is its tendency to attract controversy. Back then, publisher William Randolph Hearst was one of the program's most prominent critics. He expected any newspapers that he controlled to publish very unfavorable stories about Social Security, along with all of Roosevelt's New Deal programs. In fact, on the eve of the 1936 presidential election, the Hearst Syndicate was especially vicious regarding an early proposal to issue each citizen a metal nameplate that looked like this. While Commissioner Arthur Altmeyer rejected the idea almost immediately, deciding to instead issue cards that we're familiar with today, that didn't stop Hearst from launching a campaign that insisted that the program would require each U.S. citizen to wear military-style dog tags. Only one of these nameplates was ever created, and that was in Altmeyer's name as a sample. And yeah, I guess I'd have to admit it does look a little bit like a dog tag. Currently, this lonely card, if you are a dog tag, is on display at Social Security headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland. So, kind of interesting. Love the history of this stuff. Now, I guess another thing that's constant is attempted program abuse. One of the earliest examples occurred in 1938 when a New York wallet manufacturer promoted its product by showing how well the Social Security card fit inside. Problem was, the company executive used a copy of an actual card in this promotion. It belonged to his secretary, Hilda Schrader Witcher. And these wallets, complete with Miss Witcher's Social Security number, were sold by department stores all over the country. Within 5 years, over 5,700 people were using that number. And in all, more than 40,000 people tried to file for benefits using poor Hilda's Social Security number. And there were still 12 people using it as recently as 1977. Poor Ms. Witcher. Imagine the phone call she had to make. From its inception, I think everyone has acknowledged that Social Security is not perfect, but the program's not only survived, but its role today, for better or worse, has never been greater. Today, more than 60 million people receive a payment. 88% of all couples over the age of 65 receive benefits as of 2010. And approximately 2.6 million new retirement beneficiaries received checks in 2011, double the number that were receiving it in 1970. When the program was first introduced, it was really only applicable to what you might think of as company workers. Railroad workers were not covered, farmers were not covered, spouses were not covered. So it was really just, if you want to think about it, kind of corporate employees that were first eligible. Later, survivor benefits, disability benefits, etc., were brought into play, as well as covering self-employed individuals, which was not the case at the outset. So why is Social Security so important? Well, because people rely on it. It accounts for 37% of all income for those age 65 or older. And this is a 7% increase from 1962. So not only is it important, its importance as a retirement income source is increasing. So now that we understand the importance, let's try addressing some of the more common questions people have, such as, will it be there for me? How are my benefits determined? How do I decide when to collect? How do I utilize these spousal benefits? How do survivor benefits work? Well, will it be there for you? Well, first let's address that issue. That's on everybody's mind. There's a lot of information out there. Some may be true, some that may be telling you the system's broken or even worse, but nonetheless, at the moment it appears, based on the most recent report from the Social Security Administration, that today's reserves are expected to pay and projected to pay full benefits through 2033. Tax income is projected to cover almost 3/4 of all benefits from 2033 until 2086, even if nothing at all has changed. And therefore, a 55-year-old or older today probably doesn't really have to worry about his or her benefits being affected, at least until age 75 at the very earliest. What challenges face the program? Well, and the concern and the question about, will it be there for us, or me, or you? And that is, well, we have the baby boom generation that we're all hearing about. Baby booms are retiring in record droves, putting a strain on those resources. Their life expectancy continues to increase, and the ratio of workers is steadily declining, going from 5 workers for every recipient in 1960 to less than 3 workers for every recipient today, and a projection of 2 or less by 2035. What changes could be in the works? Well, maybe increased tax rates, higher maximum earnings subject to Social Security. Not all of your earnings, if you earn over a certain amount, not all of your earnings are subject to Social Security tax. An increase in full retirement age, which really hasn't changed in 50 years. In fact, when the program first came out, life expectancy was less than full retirement age. So at least mathematically, in the 30s and early 40s, your probability of collecting was fundamentally 0. Decreasing future retirement benefits, or possibly reducing cost of living adjustments, which I know I have read about over the past few years in Congress. How are your benefits determined? Well, a lot of people don't realize it's functionally a 2-step process. Step number 1 is eligibility. Step number 2 is how much you received. So the first thing that you need to be aware of is a phrase known as full retirement age, and that's the age at which you are eligible for full benefits. And secondly is primary insurance amount, and that is the amount that you would receive monthly if you started taking benefits. So 2 very different things. 1 is eligibility, 2 is the amount that you would subsequently collect. How are your benefits determined? Well, first, as I mentioned, eligibility. You have to be eligible. To do this, the Social Security Administration uses what it calls credits. Now, you can contact them and find out how many credits you've earned, and although special situations exist, a person age 62 or older today would need 40 credits to receive retirement benefits, which usually means about 10 years in the workforce. And during that workforce, you would have had to earn at least $1,160 for each credit, and earning a maximum of 4 credits per year. So I would expect all of us would be eligible to start out. But I wanted to cover that because there's a misconception that those who've earned 40 credits will automatically receive the maximum benefit amount. That's not true. Credits only determine if you qualify, if you're eligible. The next step is your earnings history. The Social Security Administration calculates your average index monthly earnings during the 35 years in which you earned the most, and then plugs that into a formula to determine your primary insurance amount. You can go to their website to determine this formula, or I can meet with you and go through it. But it's just a function of your earnings, and I guess what it tells you is even though you may have been out of the workforce for some reason, taking care of a child, etc., that may not necessarily harm your benefit amount as much as you may think. I recall when I used to receive this in the mail every year before my birthday. Before my birthday card showed up, I got my friendly report from the Social Security Administration. However, now if you're under the age of 60, you will no longer receive this. You have to go to their website. If you're 18 and older, you can go to ssa.gov/mystatement and create an account. Provide some personal information, and you will have an account set up where you can determine if you're eligible and what your primary insurance amount is. The maximum benefit for a worker retiring at age 66 as of last year is $2,533. However, most retirees don't receive anything close to that. The average retired worker as of last year is receiving about half of that, $1,261 a year, and a couple of just a little over $2,000. And again, why is that? Well, remember, most people are collecting early, so they're not getting the full amount that they would have been eligible for. So this leads us to a very important aspect: when to start receiving benefits. This is crucial because your benefit amount will be adjusted significantly depending upon when you file. There are 3 basic time periods in which you can elect to receive benefits, and they are: number 1, full retirement benefits at full retirement age, probably age 66 or older for most of us. At age 62, you can receive reduced benefits, and as early as the first month you reach age 62. And if you delay receiving benefits until beyond your full retirement age, until age 70, then you will have increased benefits, and the amounts are quite significant. We'll look at that in just a minute. So you can see your full retirement age is going to be a function of your year of birth. If you were born in 1955, your full retirement age is 66 and 2 months. If you're born in 1942, excuse me, it's 65 and 10 months. Really not that much different if you think about it, just a little bit more than well, it was a year and 2 months between someone, 18 years in difference in birth. So one of the problems there, I guess, is the eligibility graduation is less than the birth date gradation. So one of the things that might be changed. So waiting until full retirement age means receiving your 100% benefit. Number 2, you can file early as age 62, but you'll get a, I think, markedly reduced rate. So if your full retirement age was 65 and 10 months, you will receive a benefit reduced by 24%. If your full retirement age is 67, your benefit will be reduced by 30%. Wow, big difference. And it doesn't change. I mean, once you select, once you make a choice, that's pretty much yours. Other than when we get into spousal benefits, that's pretty much going to be yours for the rest of your life. Number 3 is you can file after full retirement age. And for every year that you delay filing and collecting benefits, you will receive almost an 8% simple, between 7.5% and 8% simple increase in your benefit. So if you wait just, let's say, 4 years, you would receive a 32% greater benefit than if you had started receiving benefits at full retirement age. This is one that just floors people, and that is that if you begin to receive benefits prior to reaching full retirement age, you must be aware of these earning limits, because if you surpass these income limits, you will experience a reduction in benefits. So we see here that someone who is under full retirement age, if they earn more than $15,120 a year, they will experience a $1 reduction in benefits for every $2 in earnings above the limit. So if you're earning $1,000 more than if you earn $16,120, you're going to experience a $500 reduction in benefits because of that. In your full retirement age year, it's $1 for every 3, and then once you reach full retirement age, there is no reduction. This is the table represents earnings of individual benefits, not joint earnings. So it is on an individual basis. Actually, this benefit is repaid to you in later years once you reach full retirement age. But again, think about filing early, experiencing a 25% reduction in benefits, and then finding that you have an additional reduction in benefits because, or withholding of benefits because you've exceeded earnings limits. So I think this chart shows us what that means, and everyone's situation is different. So here's some examples of how your benefit would be affected based on when you choose to file for benefits. So this shows just how differently your monthly checks would look depending upon when you file, based on a a PIA of $1,000. So if you elect to receive benefits at 62 instead of $1,000, which you would have gotten at 66, you're only going to receive $750. If you wait until age 70, you would have received or would receive $1,320. And that can be significant if we think about, you know, the recent market performance in the last 15 years, what occurred in 2008. That huge drawdown has caused the quote-unquote stock market, S&P 500, to average only 5% a year. When waiting for Social Security until age 70, you would have had an increase of 8% every year in your benefit amount. This next chart shows us some hypothetical break-even ages. And essentially what this is showing us is this shows us the kind of break-even totals versus, you know, taking money at an earlier age versus taking benefits at a later age. So one of the key factors that you want to think about here is life expectancy. And we're going to talk about that here next. So when to file, when to receive, you want to take into consideration your health, your marital status, which will influence spousal benefits, lifestyle expectations, how many years you worked in the workforce, meaning, you know, how much benefit are you really going to receive? Do you have other retirement assets that you can utilize? So these are, you know, these are very important. I know of a client who experienced a very, you might say, life-changing illness that had him reflecting upon his longevity. He originally thought that he would live to be in his 80s, and so he would wait until age 70 to file and receive Social Security. But once he had this illness, it changed his mind because of the possibility of recurrence. So he did a complete 180 and started receiving benefits, collecting them at age 62. So how do spousal benefits work? Well, we're going to cover the general rules, and then we're going to give you a couple of hypothetical situations. Number one, if you file for spousal benefits at full retirement age, the spousal benefit will be equal to half of your spouse's primary insurance amount. You must be age 62 or older to qualify. You cannot collect benefits on your current spouse's record until he or she files for their own benefit. They don't have to collect, but they do have to file. The amount is reduced if taken before full retirement age, but will not increase if delayed. These rules also apply for divorced spouse benefits as long as the marriage lasted at least 10 years and the beneficiary spouse is currently unmarried. A lot of people look to Johnny Carson as the poster boy of this. 4 ex-wives, none remarried, all filed for spousal benefits. So if you think about it, you had a scenario there where he paid in his amount over his lifetime and he receives his full benefits. Them filing has no impact on his, but these 4 women, all 4 ex-wives, you know, were able to collect benefits. So you had essentially 5 people collecting benefits on a plan that was really potentially designed to only provide it for one. A little bit of a weird loophole, you might say. So here's a case study, and ironically, this is the Roosevelts, Franklin and Eleanor, I guess. In this case, Frank is a high wage earner. Ellen is a lower wage earner. Both of them have the identical same full retirement age of 66. So this next strategy here is valuable when we have a large difference in benefits between the couple, between the two. We see Ellen with a primary insurance amount of $600 a month, Frank with $2,200 a month on the left. Ellen files for reduced individual benefits of $450 per month. Remember, she took that 25% reduction by filing and collecting early. Number two, Frank files and suspends, thereby allowing Ellen to collect her spousal benefit now. So she collects a spousal benefit of $500, additional money, bringing her monthly benefit to $950. Frank then at age 70 starts receiving his benefits at $29.04 per month, and upon his death, Ellen switches the survivor benefit from her benefit to his and starts receiving $29.04 per month. So this allows the couple to begin their income stream at age 62 while still allowing Frank to maximize his individual benefit. It also increases Ellen's monthly benefit by $500 at her full retirement age and allows her to receive the maximum survivor benefit if Frank dies first. This strategy is known as file and suspend. But remember, it won't work if Frank files prior to his full retirement age. And this next chart shows the benefits that they would receive utilizing different strategies, including file and suspend. Notice the difference in benefits depends on what age the primary worker, in this case Frank, dies. So here we have Frank living to age 75 and Ellen living to age 72. Another strategy is if the couples have similar PIA amounts. Here both Ellen and Frank have the identical full retirement ages of 66. Primary insurance amount exactly of, Ellen of $2,000 and Frank of $2,200, so much closer than before. So in this case, Ellen does not collect early, but rather Frank files and suspends, thereby allowing Ellen to start receiving her 50% or $1,100 per month. Frank, again, like last time, starts receiving his benefits at age 70. Ellen, who has been letting her benefit amount increase by 8% a year because she was collecting spousal benefits instead, now switches over to her benefit, her individual benefit, which is valued at $26.40 per month. And then when Frank passes away again, she switches from her individual benefit to a survivor benefit of Frank's at $29.04, so an increase of almost $300 per month. So this is known as the two high earner strategy. This allows Ellen to receive full spousal benefits at full retirement age while still maximizing her and Frank's individual benefits. It also ensures that she will receive the maximum survivor benefit if Frank dies first. And again, like last time, we look at what they would earn if both collected at age 62, both collected at full retirement age, both collected at age 70, and they employed the two high earners strategy. So the high earner strategy results in them receiving the maximum benefit of any other alternative. Some general rules to keep in mind: the surviving spouse can receive up to 100% of the deceased spouse's benefit. Except in the case of an accident, a couple must have been married at least 9 months at the time of death. The survivor gets full benefit at full retirement age and must be at least age 60, 50 if disabled, for the reduced benefit. Benefit is not available if the surviving spouse remarries before age 60. The divorced spouse can claim survivor benefit on an ex-spouse's record if the marriage lasted at least 10 years. So we've learned today that Social Security is important and what it might mean to you. We've covered some of the common questions, and we've profiled at least 2 strategies that might enable you to maximize your benefits. From here, you can visit ssa.gov to learn some more. You can also access, I'll provide upon request, a guide called the I Have a Question Guide that will provide additional insight into the topics we've covered today. It looks a little bit like this right here. Here is the actual brochure itself, and you can see that it's kind of the Reader's Digest version of what we covered today. It gives you, a summary of what we covered, including some other strategies. Also, you can avail yourself to the Social Security Retirement Benefits booklet that I can make available to you upon demand as well. So thank you very much for joining me. I would encourage you to set up an appointment with your financial professional, whether that's me or someone else, to help go through this with you, perhaps create a customized plan for your unique needs, and set you on a good chart going forward, because as we can see, the penalties for electing inappropriate choices can be rather severe. So with that, I'll say thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.